is the charm. Okay, guys, welcome to a relationship edition of my show, The Transformation Station. I'm welcoming my wife of 5 years. We celebrated our anniversary just a few days ago, our fifth anniversary. And we've had a lot of questions from people that we coach about what we've done to sew into each other, to develop the foundation for love that we have for our family, the kind of trials and tribulations that we've been through, and how we've overcome a lot of the resistance and struggle that we've faced and that inevitably anybody faces in a romantic relationship. So I really was excited to have you on the show and really appreciate the time that you carved out in order to be here. You're the love of my life. I really appreciate you for so many reasons. You're so loving, kind. It's so comfortable and warm to be around you. And I just appreciate you being here.
Oh, thank you. Fills my heart. This week has definitely been a pretty big week of reflection and us just chatting about, where we came from. Almost 10 years. We've been together almost 10 years, married for 5. Yeah, just like when we first got together, things were not good. I don't know, like why.
Well, I mean, when we first got together, things were good.
Like the first month.
The honeymoon phase was very short, I suppose, hey?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. We often laugh about it because I feel like there was some sort of divine intervention that kept us together because we were like two chipmunks in a bag.
Oh,
yeah.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
And thankfully we've had some influences come into our life to really guide and steward our relationship development.
Yes.
But what was probably the weakest part of our life is probably the strongest part of our life now, and through struggle we create strength.
Yes.
I think a lot of people would probably understand my past and my history and training and physical fitness and think that that's the strongest area of my life. But I actually think that our relationship and our family dynamic up to this point is our strength on account of the struggle and where we've come from and the development that we've intentionally put into this area.
Yeah, I would definitely agree.
Yeah.
I would think a pretty big turning point is when we took in, I think it was 4 or 5 years ago.
Man, I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it feels like it's been longer. I don't know. It's kind of weird dichotomy. But we took in a weekend course called The Art and Science of Love, based off of the methodology trainings of a couple named John and Julie Gottman. I think they have a ton of free resources on their website. So if anybody's interested in like relationship stuff, their stuff is phenomenal. It's really, really helpful. And so in that weekend, we learned building a strong foundation of relationships. So just really sewing into your partner, figuring out, what they like in terms of interests.
Yeah, their love language, right?
Love languages, things like that. And then
really getting to know your spouse and take an interest.
Totally. And then we learned to do a lot of conflict resolution.
Which is built on the foundation of sewing into each other in your love languages and you're really knowing your partner.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I would say like one of the... It was fun. It was fun just learning more about you and learning how to sew into your partner and vice versa. Because, I know that you talk a lot about it as well, just having a strong emotional bank account. It's like if you had a piggy bank. If your piggy bank was full, if you took $1 out or $2, not that big of a deal. But if your piggy bank's empty, when you go to take $1 out, well, there's nothing to take. So it's the same in a relationship.
So what would taking $1 out, what would that be? What's the analogy there? Like on a daily basis for us, for example.
Oh, like little things that come up. So you have your big conflicts, right? Things that kind of blow up and or perpetual conflicts, like family. Family typically is a big conflict for most people. But then you also have those little things like taking out the garbage or doing dishes. And for us, it was like these small things like doing dishes or taking out garbage used to turn into like 3-day fight fests, silent treatments.
Yeah.
everything like that. And I think that was just because
We had no
no
money in the
deposits
bank.
in the bank. So when you
Yeah.
go to take a deposit out, you're withdrawn versus when
Yeah.
you have a healthy bank account, taking some money out here and there, it's not a big deal.
And what do you call that when you go to withdraw funds that you don't have? You get something. You get a penalty.
Oh, NSF,
Yeah.
non
Not
sufficient.
sufficient funds, relationship
Yes.
funds.
Yeah.
So that's exactly the case that we had shortly after we got married. And I mean, we had faced it before a little
Yeah.
bit, but we hadn't had the training and maybe hadn't had the intentionality around building that bank account beforehand, before we took this training by the psychologists that were gotten and certified. So, yeah, I remember being so excited to come back home and see you and almost just longing for you when I was at work. And then the second we saw each other, we were fighting like cats and dogs. The smallest of infractions, which I think would be equivalent to taking that dollar out of the bank
Yeah.
account, put us into that NSF. All of a sudden, you get your NSF penalty of now we're fighting
$75
for,
fee.
yeah, which is for us, now we're fighting for 3 days,
Yeah.
right? Versus now, because we've been so intentional about sewing into each other's love languages and filling that bank account, we can glide over those NSF problems, because there's these certain perpetual problems that happen in relationships that come up over and over because of mild, slight value differences. So, for example, Jerrica values a clean house way more than I do. I will prioritize a million things before cleaning. I still have the bachelor mindset to a certain extent. So when I let things get out of hand, thank God I've been intentional about sewing into our relationship. Otherwise, Jerrica would have my head, because she used to, right?
Yeah. Sometimes still drives me crazy, but we handle it very differently.
Yeah, and because we have that foundation for love, I think it's a lot different.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of those things that we needed to learn to do for each other, and what's really helped our relationship in terms of sewing into each other.
Yeah.
I'll let you kick it off.
Yeah, I some of the things that I really focus on a daily basis, just to feed into you and make sure that you feel loved and appreciated, are I take care of pretty much everything around the house. I know that you pretty much hate doing it. So it's something that, and like a lot of these things we've talked about and we've agreed upon. So I would say the household is kind of
Your
my
domain.
domain to take care of. But then I also, I know something that's really important to you is just acknowledging bids for attention. So when you have things that you want to show me or things that you want to talk about, just giving you my undivided attention, even though I'm like, oh, I could do dishes while you talk to me. I know that's not very feeding, so I, stop what I do and I listen to
intentionally
your bids
listen.
and
And Mom, I have not changed since I was young. And to lay some context down for that, I've always gravitated towards quality time with the people that I love the most. And so I used to pull my mom's attention away from whatever she was doing in her day, and I wanted her to watch me hacky sack. I can get 5 hackies in a row, Mom. Just watch. Oh wait, I only got 3. Watch me again. Just one more time. One more time. Watch me shoot this puck, top corner, one more time. Watch me juggle, one more time. Just looking for that quality time, looking to share the things that were important in my life with that person that was so important. And so I'm a little bit demanding that way. And Jerrica answers that call very well. So I really appreciate that. And then conversely, so if my predominant love languages are quality time, and what would you say my second one would be?
yeah, quality time and I would say physical touch would be
Would
another
be my
good one
top
for you.
two. Now, obviously, we all have a little bit of each of them in us, I think. But for you, conversely, I've come to understand that acts of service, maybe that's not even your number one. I think it's probably tied with words of encouragement and loving words. So loving words, loving gestures for you are very important. And what are some of the things that you know that I do on a regular basis that sew into you? Like what would you say really helps you that I do? What fills your tank?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you with the acts of service and words of affirmation or words of encouragement. I know that you do put a focused effort on just telling me things that you love about me throughout the day, and
Hmm.
things that you appreciate, and
Yeah, which I
um,
was not good at
you
for
were
a long time. Words of
terrible.
encouragement was not a strength for me.
When we first got together, I remember me being like, can you just say something nice to me? And you'd be like, don't look to me for validation.
Yeah,
Yeah. Or you'd be like, oh yeah, if you ask for it, I'm not gonna give it to you, or something. I don't know, something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, it's definitely become a strength of yours now. And then I would even say like a lot of those little things that you do throughout the day. Um, you'll typically cook, so you'll make breakfast or you'll make supper for us, or even just putting a salad together. Life can get pretty crazy with baby, and I'll often forget to eat, or um, we'll just kind of put it on the back burner.
Hmm.
You've been really good at taking the dog out, and
Yeah, kind
um,
of assuming the responsibility of keeping the dog healthy for the most part.
alive.
Whereas I've let you take baby most of the
Yeah.
time. Like I'm still here and I'm having time with Vaughn, and I take him on, some mornings, some nights. I get up with him once in a while, usually because I'm already up. If it's at night, I'm a night owl. But yeah, I put a condensed effort into doing little things
Yeah.
as I have the impulse to do them, and I think that that's that instinct to do those things and to say nice things to feed into your spouse's love tank starts very, very intentionally and conscientiously.
Yeah.
Like I
You used to
remember,
put reminders in your phone, even.
yeah, I
You used
had
to call them love acts, which can be
a,
taken very dirtily if someone came across your phone and saw a
totally.
reminder for give Jerrica love act.
Yeah, it was on my habit tracker was an act of love a day. And so for Jerrica, I was making sure I was sewing into those, those two predominant areas that she has strong love languages, being words of affirmation or encouragement, and acts of service. And I was trying to do those things very, very conscientiously. And now I'm kind of at the point where I just answer the instinct to do it. If I have the instinct to do it, like I was on that run the other day. I was halfway through my run and I was listening to a podcast by Matthew Hussey, and it got me thinking about our relationship. And I had the instinct of just appreciating Jerrica for the reasons that I was first attracted to her, for her kind heart, for the spirit that you feel around her, for her energy. I had never experienced an energy like that before I met her, and I was just reminiscing on that, and I had to phone her and let her know, because it's kind of like if you have that thankfulness and gratitude in your heart and you don't share it, it's kind of like having a gift and withholding it, not giving it to somebody. Now, and having said that, even that mentality to look for the positive things and to remember all those great qualities and look for the strengths in your spouse rather than being focused on the weaknesses, I think that's really a habit that has to be built after the honeymoon phase of a relationship.
Yeah.
Because what first attracted you starts to repel you from your spouse. And you really have to dig in, or at least for me, I had to dig in to really cultivate that love for everything that I saw in you that was strong, right?
Yeah. I think it's just making those investments, and I think it's the things that are easy to do, but also really easy not to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like we could probably go weeks without really focusing on like, hey, what do I appreciate about you
Yeah.
today, and what, letting your partner know. Like I think that we just kind of get into these ruts of um, systems, right? Life
Yeah,
becomes very,
monotonous routine. Yeah.
yeah, systematic, and
Yeah. And sometimes you got to shake things up to wake things up, and
yeah,
I think that we've done that a lot of different times.
yeah.
We've updated our routines.
Mm-hmm.
We put those kinds of things in the habit tracker. We went to courses like John and Julie Gottman's Art and Science of Love. Like those are things that we do because we were intentionally trying to build our relationship.
Yeah.
And what was probably the greatest weakness in our life has now become one of the greatest strengths in our life.
Yeah.
And I think most people would probably think that I would say my greatest strength is health and fitness. And I actually don't believe that. I think that's number two to the relationship that we've been able to build, and how I guess the instinctive impulses that we've been able to habitualize into our life, like to instinctively act on the impulse to share with your spouse what you love about them, what you appreciate about them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So now what? Moving forward, we've gone 5 years into marriage, 10 years together. We've developed a ton. What are you looking forward to?
Honestly, just the next 5 years, like it's really, I think I said this to you the other day, like it's looking back 5 years ago, 10 years ago to where a relationship is now, I would have never guessed it would have been like this good and just strong. So now I think of where we're going to be 5 years from now yet. And I don't know, it's exciting because it's so unknown, but
Yeah.
I just know that things 5 years from now are going to be even better than they are
Right
today.
now.
Yeah,
And that's almost hard to imagine.
it
Like
is.
it's, but 2 years, it was hard to imagine as well. 2 years ago today, yeah, it's sometimes when you feel like you're at the pinnacle of your game, you're at the best that you've been in an area. It's hard to imagine developing to that next level. Thankfully, we've been around a lot of people with great relationships, and maybe not great in all areas, but great parts where we see that and we want to emulate it, and it keeps us thinking about what that next phase can be. But I'm super excited to see what the journey has in store for us and to continue to grow and intentionally put in the time and effort, because it takes time, effort, patience in order to get to that next level and just live peaceful with each other and continue to pour money into that that relationship bank account and continue to work hard to get over those small daily infractions that happen, those perpetual problems based on those small value differences that we have.
Absolutely.
It's an exciting thing for me at this point, and it wasn't. When your relationship is kind of in the pits, it's not exciting to think about.
Yeah.
But with time and effort, it can become one of the most exciting parts of your life. Cool. Well, thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate it. And we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely.
Cool. Okay, guys, we'll talk to you later. If you like this video, please hit the like button below and share this if you find value in it. And I'm going to put the links to the Gottman website on here, to Matthew Hussey's Love Life. I found a lot of value out of. Any other resources that you can think of? Not immediately offhand. So if you have any questions, please reach out. We'd definitely be open to fielding what we can based on our experience. So we'll talk to you guys soon.